Well, they did it. 100 Thieves are your VCT Americas Stage 1 champions. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we're talking about the final 3 days of the VCT Americas Stage 1 playoffs. It features some crazy games ranging from super long best of 5s to pretty short best of 5s, as well as a heartbreaking match for one Latin American fanbase. So these are the matches we have to talk about to wrap up this stage, starting with the first edition of 100 Thieves versus G2, which was 2-1 in favor of 100 Thieves. This whole playoffs, 100 Thieves were absolutely on a mission. They looked on top of their game better than they have all year, and it was the perfect timing for them to do it. And while it was pretty close, this was a very back and forth match. G2 just weren't able to match the same intensity that 100 Thieves were. It's just crazy how improved both of these teams look from the regular season stage. Looking at map 1, this was a 13-5 win in favor of 100 Thieves on G2's own map pick, which was Ascent. 7-5 at the half in favor of 100 Thieves, so a pretty close game up until that point. But then 100 Thieves' attack side looked immaculate and went flawless. So 100 Thieves establishing dominance early in this match. But then Bayern would go in a similar fashion, but in the way of G2. 13-8 win in favor of them on 100 Thieves pick. Tied at the half, 6-6, 100 Thieves do win the pistol and the next round, but then G2 just stormed their way to their win, not dropping a round after that, winning 7 rounds in a row to close it out. So we had two not totally lopsided maps, but not exactly super close, but then the last map on Split would prove to be that close match. 13-11 win in favor of G2. It could have gone G2's way, but 100 Thieves, their second half was just very, very good. 8-4 in favor of G2 at the half, so they had the lead, they absolutely were in control, but then 100 Thieves just took back that control and did not let it go. In the second half, G2 win the pistol, then they win the next one. It looks like, oh, they're up 10-4, this one could be over quickly, and then it was not. 6 round wins in a row for 100 Thieves, G2 only getting one more after that. So this match featured a lot of win streaks on the side of both teams on all 3 maps. Looking at the team MVPs on the side of 100 Thieves, I gotta talk about EU, who absolutely has been a underrated, extremely important piece of this 100 Thieves team. He's looked like a great depth player and absolutely a solid pickup from the offseason. He went 59, 36, and 23 for plus 23. Absolutely crazy numbers for him. And then Valen, who had an incredible playoffs. All the matches that he played, he looked phenomenal. He went 50, 41, and 24 for plus 9. This dude was on fire this weekend. So obviously these two teams did rematch in the grand final, so I'll talk more about each team's implications for Shanghai when we get to that last match. But we got to move on to the heartbreaker match. This was Leviatan versus Crew. This was a must-win match for both teams. Whoever won the match qualified for Shanghai, and whoever lost would be out of the playoffs. So these are two teams that had very strong regular season splits, but then stumbled a bit in playoffs. But Leviatan, off of the back of Aspas yet again, were able to get it done. 2-1 victory. Looking at map 1, we had Lotus, which was Leviatan's pick, and Crew ended up taking control of this match very quickly. 13-6 in favor of Crew, 7-5 at the half, and then only allowing 1 round win in the second half, going on a dominant 5-round win streak to end it. Then on Icebox, a lot closer, 13-11 in favor of Leviatan, so Crew is still playing really well. Leviatan, rough first map for them, but they were able to recover on Crew's map pick. Their defense side on Icebox would be the difference maker, and it brought this match to a third one, which would be Sunset and Crew. Looked like they could have taken this one, but just back and forth, both teams trading insanely long win streaks, and Leviatan were just able to do more. Lev win the first 3 rounds, and then Crew win 7 in a row, looking absolutely in control. They could maybe end the half 9-3, but that did not happen. Leviatan win the last 2 of the half, and then go on a 6-round win streak in the second half, so 8 total round wins in a row. Crew would get one back, but it just wouldn't be enough. 2 more for Leviatan is all they needed, and they win this one. There in Shanghai, we're going to see Aspas. We will not see Kezenet. Looking at the team MVPs, Aspas shows up yet again to absolutely no one's surprise. He went 61, 40, and 11 for plus 21. And on the side of Crew, I could have put Kezenet again. He did have some better stats, at least in terms of the VLR rating, but I did go with Shy because he went 52, 41, and 7 for plus 7. So he did have a better kill depth differential, which isn't the hugest difference maker, but he had a good game, so I thought we talk about Kezenet a lot. Shy has been an underrated piece of this team as well. So for Leviatan, this is what you wanted. You wanted to be able to make it to Shanghai. You weren't able to qualify in your first game, so this was an absolute must win. And with the way that Aspas has been playing throughout this stage, not making it to Shanghai would absolutely be an embarrassment. You have arguably the best player in the world. No one is putting up numbers like Aspas right now. So losing 2 matches in a row to end your split and not make it to the international over your Latin American rival, definitely not something that you want to be happening to you. And on the side of Crew, is very disappointing. It is unfortunate that this team, had such a good run during the regular season split, but just couldn't get it done in playoffs. But I was saying throughout these playoffs and during the regular season split that my expectations for Crew wasn't exactly to make Shanghai. They looked really good during that regular season split. There was a chance they overperformed. And unfortunately, it kind of gave teams more motivation to really put your A game against this Crew team. When you look like a team that is just dominating everybody, when you get to these really big moments where everything matters and you're no longer the underdog, teams that are playing that underdog role can definitely run you over. And I don't think that Leviatan was an underdog by any means, but that is what happened in the first match of the playoffs. So this one was a bit more, the nervousness is a bit more down, you calm down the jitters, but now you really have to lock in. And they did play well, they could have won, but it just wasn't enough. I am still proud of what this team has done during the split. We'll see where they go from here, but I absolutely can see this team at champs. So moving on to the match, that said, if you have anything else to do today, but you want to watch this match, too bad. You're not getting anything else done. This was the lower final, G2 versus Leviatan, which does end up in a 3-2 win in favor of G2. This was a match that went the distance. All 5 maps being played in this best of 5. 2 different maps going into overtime, some very close score lines. Each map could have gone either way for either team, and some insane performances by players of both teams. But it does end up going in favor of G2, who move on to grand finals. This wasn't a match of huge consequence. Both teams already in Shanghai, so this match was mainly just to try to make it to grand finals so that you could compete for that top spot, top seed heading into Shanghai. Looking at the first map, it was Bind, which was G2's pick, and this does end up going into overtime and being a 14-12 win in favor of Leviatan. Incredibly back and forth on both halves, 6-6 in the first half, and then both teams winning 6 in the second, and then Leviatan getting the only 2 overtime wins. And then Breeze, which was Leviatan's pick, is the only map out of these 5 that didn't absolutely go the distance. 13-7 win in favor of G2, so not super lopsided, but the closest we got in this match. 9-3 at the half, which put G2 in a good position. They only needed to win 4, they got it done. And then Icebox would go very similar to Bind to Leviatan, winning this one 14-12. Yet again, 6-6 at the half, both teams winning 6 in the second half. Overtime win from Leviatan. So Leviatan having G2's number in that overtime throughout this match, and G2 losing both of their map picks. Then moving on to Lotus, which was Leviatan's pick, we would see yet again teams not being able to close out their map pick, 13-10 in favor of G2. 8-4 at the half, it looked like Lev was climbing their way back into it by winning 5 to start the second half, but G2 would take back control. And then finally, we get to the last map. It feels like the first map I talked about was eons ago, 13-11 in favor of G2. So even this one could have gone to overtime. It was 7-5 at the half, and then a very back and forth second half going in favor of G2. Leviatan almost bringing it to overtime, but 3 wins to end it on the side of G2. They're in grand finals. Looking at the team MVPs, we have 2 players tying the record for most kills in a best of 5. Valen with probably his best match as a member of G2. He had 101 kills, 80 deaths, 43 assists for plus 21. Absolutely monster performances. What I was talking about with Valen, he had a fantastic playoffs. And the man tying him was Aspas 2, no one's surprise. 101 kills for him as well, 84 deaths, 19 assists for plus 17. So technically Valen outplayed him. So as I said, this wasn't a match of huge consequence, but this was a good showcase of both of these teams' skill. Leviatan do look like a dangerous contender heading into Shanghai. They don't get one of the top 2 spots, but this was a good recovery for Leviatan after losing earlier in the bracket to 100 Thieves. And while I do kind of get the feeling that this team is a bit carried by Aspas, they definitely have some really solid players throughout their roster. So if all members of this team can perform as well as they have in these playoffs going into Shanghai, then they should be in a pretty good position. But if Aspas has to carry every time, I don't know about their chances because, while Aspas is absolutely one of those players that could just take over a game, this is a team game. It's not a one-man game. So I'm not saying that Leviatan is entirely carried by Aspas, but he definitely is doing a lot of the heavy work. So we'll see how that tournament goes for them. Either way, they will be there. So moving on to the last match that we have to talk about, yet another best of 5, but this one did not get even close to as long as the first one did. 3-0 victory in favor of 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves just looking to establish their dominance within the Americas. And wasn't that G2 played particularly bad or anything. 100 Thieves were just a lot more ready for this match. They were a lot more rested. They did get that day of rest, and while G2 just went through that absolute barn burner versus Leviatan, that definitely took some of the gas out of them. Very tall task to ask a team to go through another best of 5 after the absolutely insane one that they did the day before. Looking at Bind, which was 100 Thieves map, definitely a map that could go in favor of either team. G2 with a solid defense half, ending the first half 8-4, but then 100 Thieves would give them a taste of their own medicine, only allowing G2 one win on attack. And then Breeze, which was G2's pick, would go in favor of 100 Thieves 13-7. Tied at the half, but 100 Thieves going on a solid round win streak, winning about 8 in a row. G2 yet again only getting 1 round win on the second half. And then Sunset is where we would end it 13-8 in favor of 100 Thieves. G2 definitely putting up a better fight in the second half this time. 8-4 at the half in favor of 100 Thieves. They were in control. They were looking a lot better. And then they get to match point, but they couldn't close it out right away. G2 winning 4 in a row, but 100 Thieves would eventually find it. Looking at the team MVPs on the side of 100 Thieves, we have Bane, who went 56, 36, and 15 for +20. The best match he has had as a member of 100 Thieves this year. Then on the side of G2, Icy with a solid performance, going 49, 50, and 8 for -1. Just like the G2 versus Leviatan match, this match was a good showcase of both of these teams' skill. As I said, it just seemed like G2 had kind of had the wind taken out of them after that super long haul match they had the day before, and 100 Thieves were a lot more ready, they were a lot more rested, they were a lot more motivated to take that top spot. 100 Thieves will now get to choose their opponent for that first round at Shanghai. G2 does not get that luxury, but I think if G2 had won that Leviatan match maybe 3-0, this one probably would have been a lot closer, but it does seem like that this year right now 100 Thieves do kind of have G2's number. G2 has not been able to beat them yet this year. We'll see if that changes. Maybe it changes at Shanghai. It's entirely possible. But either way, 100 Thieves looked like the best team in VCT Americas right now. They absolutely cleaned up their game heading into playoffs, shedding some of those flaws that we were seeing in them throughout the stage. Even though they did look quite strong, they weren't looking like particularly world beaters, but now they absolutely looked like the best. And G2 also looked very, very good. Huge improvement this playoffs from where they were at during the regular season stage. I was really concerned about this team heading into playoffs. I thought they would probably bow it early, but they proved me wrong very quickly, and I'm very glad. Either way, this was a great playoffs to cap off the stage. The stage was pretty crazy. We had a lot of teams going through a lot of up and downs, a lot of surprise contenders, a lot of teams that fell to the wayside that we weren't expecting to. But either way, now we know the 3 teams that are heading to Shanghai, and it's going to be a good one. So Shanghai's coming up. That's what's next. So I'll be making content leading up to the start of that tournament, and I'm confident that Shanghai is going to be a fun time. Sentinels aren't there, so hopefully viewership doesn't take too much of a hit. But either way, I think it's going to be a fantastic tournament, and I'll be here to cover it. Thank you to everybody who has been watching my videos throughout this stage. If you're new to my channel throughout this stage, thanks for joining. These are the kind of videos that I really enjoy making, talking about the matches that have happened throughout the VCT season. So hopefully at Shanghai, I get to talk about some very competitive, very fun matches, because Masters of Madrid was a great tournament. Hoping Shanghai can reach that same level. Anyways, let me know what you guys thought of these matches in the comment section down below. Please click like if you enjoyed this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.